our behalf. Sounds great? Okay, so moving forward, those who have joined us for the past sessions have known this already, but for the first timers, you may be wondering why Agony Expert Series? So we have drawn inspiration from an Agony aunt, who by definition is a person who writes a column in a newspaper or magazine in which they reply to readers who have written to them for advice on their personal problems. So in short, it's kind of a play on that concept. Thus, the Agony Expert that we have now, where you, our participants, can share what problems and struggles you're facing within your organization and seek insights directly from our expert. So this is just the sixth of the many, by the way. So as you can see on your screen, together with a total of 17 world-class experts that we have gathered, they will be covering 8 different topics that are timely and relevant in our industry today. And the good news is, you can cherry pick what session you would like to attend. And for today's session, it will be about engaging the remote workforce. And it's an honor to introduce the founder and CEO of PPEARL, Natasha Mak-Levrion. Natasha is commercially oriented and an experienced business psychologist and leader in the human capital field. So business focused, her solutions are developed and managed using a data-driven focus that sets priorities for improvements aligned to ongoing strategic business imperatives. So today she will talk about the cool stuff to keep our workforce energized, engaged, boost staff morale, and I know you all will like this, online business games that we can use in the workplace. All right, so just a little bit of a background of who we are. So PPEARL is a consulting firm that started in 2004, sold itself and relaunched last year, 2020, with a consulting model geared towards the future of work. So our team serves both our clients and our network of over 1,000 experts. So who are these experts? Well, we have consultants, business leaders, thought leaders, researchers, and tech partners. So together, we deliver consulting work, speaking engagements, lunch and learns, training, coaching, instructional design, organizational and people diagnostics. Our experts deliver work across 6 broad domains. It's people, digital innovation, business, sustainability, change management, and design. So in short, PPEARL can attend to any business challenge you might have. So do check us out on our website to find out more about us. So that's www.ppearl.com. Yeah, ppearl.com. Okay, so just a quick run through of what's going to happen today. We have Nat to address the group for approximately 25 minutes, followed by Q&A for another 25 minutes. And then we will go and wrap things up for you in the last remaining 5 minutes of the event, like for us to get feedback of what you think of today's session. So again, we'd love to receive your questions and drop them in the chat box, and we'll address them during the Q&A session. So I know you're all excited. I won't keep you any longer. So handing it over to you, Nat. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Marley, for a lovely introduction, and welcome everybody. It's really nice to see all of you here. So first things first, I'm going to just say that I'll be toggling. So I've got 2 screens. So if I'm looking away, it's not that I'm not looking at you anymore. I'm just looking at my screen. And I have a couple of things to toggle in front of me, so forgive me, okay? So let me just share my screen first, make sure that's happening, and then we'll begin. Second. Okay, can everyone see this okay? Okay, awesome. All right. So today, what we're going to do is cover these 5 questions, and I'd love to answer your questions. So please do post them into the chat box. Firstly, what are some cool ways that organizations have engaged their remote workforce? And what are some online business games that you could use to energize your workforce? How to engage remote employees? some 7 strategies that are backed by research, and what are some creative ways to boost staff morale. And lastly, we have a cheat sheet for you so that you can refer to it and get started immediately. Okay. Now let's look at some statistics. According to the latest Gallup report, 51% of employees are disengaged in the workplace, while 13% are actively disengaged. Now, actively disengaged means that people are actually feeling miserable at work and spending.
Sorry, Nat.
To interrupt. You're showing the wrong screen.
Oh, really? Which
Yeah.
one? Oh, okay. All right. Let me see. So, let's see. Yeah, is this okay?
Yep.
Okay, just a minute. Hang on. I need to push my. This is the problem with multiple screens. Okay, is this okay now?
Yes, Nat.
All right, thank you. Okay, so yeah, so when we talk about the recent Gallup report, right? 51% of employees are disengaged in the workplace and 13% are actively disengaged. And what they mean by actively disengaged are people that actually feel miserable at work and they're spreading negativity to their colleagues. On the flip side, there's another Gallup report as well that shows that in terms of employee engagement, companies with highly engaged workforce have 21% higher profitability, and that they also have 17% higher productivity. So of course the reasons are clear, and I think I know that I'm preaching to the choir. We all know this. Engaged employees are more motivated to complete their tasks and then go the extra mile, and they're much better at meeting employees, each other's needs and customers' needs, and therefore revenues do go up. Engaged employees, of course, are also happier and they report lower absenteeism and they tend to be more loyal. So let's have a look at some cool ways that we found that organizations have engaged their remote workforce. Okay, so the first way is organizations could send fun and thoughtful care packages. And these care packages do encourage creativity and engagement at work. And when we talk about care packages, what could they look like, right? So a company, for example, like team building, and you imagine, of course, a company like that would do something like this. They share care packages that employees can choose from, employees and employers, right? Because they also themselves offer this as a service. And it could be things like a little campfire, storytelling workshops, or simplified role-playing games. And you might also do things like care package for Earth Day, for example, seeds, that you could send to your employees to plant something. Or maybe for Halloween, everybody gets a ghoulish mask of some sort, and then everyone can log online. So these are different ways that you could do care packages. Another way would be to encourage employee side projects. So giving employees the freedom to work on personal projects that align with company's goal do encourage more innovation in business. And for example, Google has this 20% program that gives employees a percentage of their time to create new products. And allowing employees to create new products is an advantage to your organization because these projects can also then be adapted into the company, and you could even showcase them to increase employee engagement. You could also create a culture of connectedness. Employees crave connection and they want to be included. We're all humans, so that's pretty normal. And when you create this culture of connectedness, employees feel that they're not just workers and that they are people who are unique and appreciated. So, for example, in our organization in PPEARL, what we do is we have a daily scrumdle. It's a scrum huddle where we catch up and talk about what are the things that we're about to deal with today, kind of support that we need. We also celebrate each other's milestones, and we talk about what's our word of the day. One of our colleagues has also initiated a cool, fun fact of the day, which he shares with everybody. And that's another way to just lighten things up, and get to know somebody and other things apart from work. So yeah, lunch and learns are other things that you could do, social days. I think these are a lot of already, I'm sure, things that you're doing within your organization. So we'd love to hear what you've been doing as well. You could also host virtual classes and shows. Make sure that when you're doing this, you co-create with your team so that they have a say about how they would like the programs to run and what exactly they would like to learn. So for example, you've got the Content Factory, which invites its remote team to co-create the experiences that they want to have. And another organization, Inbound Marketing, hosts some weekly open mic sessions where everyone is given time to speak and do mimicry. So it's kind of, fun and games. Of course, always show appreciation. And how can you do that when you're remote? Some organizations have done things like recognize employees in group chats and social media platforms. They give perks. And of course, they could do things like providing bonuses, free coffee, and just congratulatory cards, and use apps to encourage more communication and show appreciation. And you've got online business games. And since the pandemic has hit, online business games have mushroomed everywhere, and their take-up rate has increased tremendously. So we'll talk a little bit more about this, and I'll show you some examples. And as companies become more focused on business objectives, virtual games can really help the workplace get more engaging and productive. They do help with retention of knowledge. They promote participation, communication, and strategic management between teams, can enable workers to practice taking decisions in risk-free environments. And finally, it does help to retain talent. People are engaged and they're happier. So before we go into talking about online games, could I just have a little check with our attendees here? What kind of ways have you increased engagement in the workplace? Could you share them in the chat box, or feel free to unmute and share? Marley, I'll have to get your help to read them out because I just have too much going on in my screens right now.
Sure. I haven't seen any comments as of now. So do pop it in the chat box, everyone.
Okay, whilst we continue, I'll continue, and whilst I do, please feel free to just share. Yeah, I would love to know.
From Sharon, using Kahoot for fun online games.
Cool, that's nice.
And also from Francisca, I received packages from my supervisor.
That's lovely. Yes, I do remember last year someone we did a whole series of webinars as well, and after every webinar, a colleague would send over like drinks, and we'll all do virtual drinks. So that was quite fun too.
Yeah, and another one. I am in training ISO 14K management system, so I always give out early bird presents to participants. From Thank Tan.
Nice. Actually, a client of ours just bought a whole package from like Food Panda or something, and they allowed everyone to take a code and just get free take out for I think a week or two, and that was pretty well received too. So there are lots and lots of ways that we've seen organizations just help to celebrate the work from home and engage their employees.
Yeah.
So
We
keep
also have few more. Yeah, from Jean Alvarez, check out how people are doing and offer help to listen. And from Kathleen Tan, we do send thank you notes now and then to thank colleagues on the group chats to acknowledge their support.
Nice. Love these ideas. Keep them coming, okay? And then if we miss out any, we'll bring them up later. Okay, so gamification. Let's talk about some online games, some online business games that you could use to energize your workforce that we've come across. So we work with quite a few online games partners, and this is what we've come across. And there are loads more, but we didn't want to take up too much airspace, so we'll just share a couple. It's just went backwards. So, well, oh dear. Just a minute. There we go. Okay, so this is the first game, and I'm going to show you a video, and I'll just give you a little bit of background on what the game is. So this activity was specially designed for people who work remotely, and the objective of the game is to help a boy who has been imprisoned in a spaceship by mistake. And so there are 8 gates. And what you would do is solve a puzzle and then get through one gate and then another and so on. And of course, the objective is to get him out and ensure that you do it in the quickest time possible. So there's a competitive element as well. And there are puzzles, right? And in order to solve this, the teams have to work together really, really well, because one person eventually will look at a screen and they have to kind of explain to the other person or the other persons in the team what's going on. And sometimes, you know how it is, right? You can't really see the elephant, and you might be describing one part of their body, which is like a big trunk, whereas, it could be a big leg. So it's quite exciting, and we've done this before with our clients. And there's a high level of collaboration and communication that needs to happen in order to release this little boy. So lots of things in terms of team dynamics are disclosed. So in terms of the debrief, there's very rich debrief coming out on communication, on also in particular to debrief virtual communication, because that brings it one level higher in terms of complexity, because you can't really talk in the binary way that you do when you're in a group. So they talk about how, in the team setting, especially if you're on Zoom, if many people talk at the same time, it doesn't really work, right? So lots of debriefing opportunities. So I'm just going to share the video now. No sound, just a minute. Oh, this is weird. I did have the share screen. I'm not really sure why. Can you guys hear the sound? No, right?
Still no sounds.
Because what we can do. We tested this earlier, everyone. I'm so sorry about this. Mel, would you happen to have this on your screen, and could you share it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. It's game 1, and maybe you can share all the games, and then I can just talk through it. I'll just stop now.
Okay.
Thanks. there you go. That's the first game. And in the next game that we're about to show are, of course, virtual escape rooms, and there are plenty. And it will give you a little bit of information about them. Okay, so these games are, of course, web-based. They're conducted across many platforms. And during these activities, teams solve riddles and complete puzzles in a fixed amount of time. Of course, there are lots of themes for these rooms, so they come in literally hundreds, thousands of different themes, from scary to funny. And some examples of these virtual escape rooms are the International Monster Hunter, the Grim Escape, the Wildly Different Escape. So there are plenty of these. Let's have a look at that video. So we've used these as well very successfully in our projects, where again, the debriefing is really fun. Not only does it encourage teamwork and just get people, off their Zoom fatigue and doing something interesting and fun, but it also, you can do multiple teams and of course have this competitive element, and people can also do debriefs, or whoever is running it will talk about teamwork and how they felt and how communicating in certain ways helped others and so on. But for these virtual escape rooms, they're really nice for just getting people together and just shaking it off and having a good time. So next, we're going to talk about scavenger hunts. These are, classic, right? In real life, but you do it in an online fashion as well, in an online environment. And it's also a great way to break the ice during a group call, or maybe in a training program that you want to just get everyone talking to each other and, loosen up. So running a virtual scavenger hunt is quite fun. Gets people moving at the same time. So it could be in various ways. You could have, and this you could even, do it on your own, literally get a list of items that can be found in usually a person's house, and then you call out for them to get them. Everyone on the call has to scramble and find the item, and the one that is first to return to their seat will score the point, right? Or they have to take a picture. There are also quite a few URLs out there that already have it set up. So you would kind of turn around 360 and you could already create a list of things that they have to look for. Like there was one in particular that I saw, which was quite elaborate. It was like probably in a Middle Eastern market in the souk somewhere. So there's like, stalls everywhere, and like from hanging chilies to, heads of not real animals, all sorts of stuff. And then you could walk, it's like quite a large area that you could walk into the alleyways and find things. So of course you give everybody a time limit and a list of items to find, and that works pretty well too. So let's have a look at this video. Okay, and another one which we've used also in team building, sort of break the ice, get everyone energized. We had quite a lot of clients who really wanted to just, get their teams together to do something apart from just, horrible, boring calls, meetings, endless. And in one particular game, we had this, which is a 17-minute adventure where you have to escape from Alcatraz. And it's really, really realistic because everyone breaks out into different rooms and you have a warden. So, like a prison warden, they're dressed up and, they have the baton and they talk to you like you're a horrible escape, a potential escapee. And of course, what you need to do is break out of Alcatraz. And how do you do that? You work together to follow clues, solve puzzles. So it's kind of like an escape room, but with a little bit more intrigue, I suppose, and dressing up. And whoever breaks out of the most secure prison, whichever team does, is the winner. So let's take a look at it. Okay, and the last one that we've used with a lot of fun as well is the Haunted Mansion. So again, teams of 4, 5, or 6 come together and they solve cryptic clues. So they go through 3 gates in a haunted mansion and they have to solve puzzles, take a look at riddles, and be the first to escape the virtual haunted house. So in this case, they have 90 minutes to work together and escape all the 6 rooms. So there are 3 gates and 6 rooms, and the one with the most points will win and break the final code. So of course, yeah, there's quite a lot of laughs, and it's about, again, thinking under pressure, employing problem solving, communication. Let's take a look at this. All right, thanks for that. Okay, so shall I take back screen sharing? Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, and now we're going to talk about engaging remote employees and some 7 strategies backed by research. Now, you might find some of what I already talked about repeated here, but this gives us a little bit of a deeper dive on ways, right, that you could start putting in place immediately. So, of course, being virtual, staying connected through technology is a must. Encourage your team to use cloud for file sharing, as well as increasing teamwork seamlessly. And in terms of video conferencing, there are loads of other different conferencing platforms apart from Teams and Zoom that we're used to. And some of them are...
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. We can see the taskbar. You're not in the presenter mode.
Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And then there are loads of online meeting platforms apart from Zoom and Teams, which again have mushroomed up. And we've been really, really interested in those personally ourselves because, yeah, we're trying always to find more fun and exciting ways to engage with teams. So some of these would be organizations like Air Meets, companies like Air Meets. There is another called Gather. Slack is old. We all know that. There are a couple more that came across my table the other day, and if you're interested, just ping me and I'll send you those. I'll have to look for them. And maybe just to let you know a little bit about Gather. Gather is quite interesting because you go into a world that you set up, right? So you could set it up as an office, for example, or you could set it up as a city or a town. And you then, as a human or whoever is in the city or the office, a little avatar that walks around. And how it works is that once you walk close to somebody in the virtual world, so for those of you who have kids, it's a little bit like Roblox, I guess. And you get close to the other person, and then your mics will turn on, and then you can start talking. So if there is, let's say, a gathering, right, like a town hall or something, everybody can meet in the town hall, for example, and then you could have that gathering. So it's pretty interesting. And as we last spoke to them, they were already able to have gatherings as large as I think 500 people, and they're looking at increasing their capacity so that more people could join. And they were looking at like virtual virtual like massive town halls, for example, and also virtual concerts and so on, right? So there are some ways that you could stay connected through technology, and then assign people to run them and have group chats, social events, and so on. So of course, fostering social interaction, we encourage organizations to do things like assign virtual mentors to new hires. And you could do things like, social coffee, virtual coffee, social days. And of course, in sessions like that, always remember to take some time and maybe not chat work sometimes. Ask staff to bring their cup of joes and chat about what's going on, and how they're feeling. Are they facing any work challenges, etc.? Everyone needs a break from work, and it's always helpful to remember that. Now we just talked about virtual coffee breaks, and other ways that organizations have done this is to allocate funds to help spice up the home office. So funds to help pay for office supplies, I think that's pretty typical. Other ways are funds to help maybe get stationery, get their areas, in order. Groceries, for example. Maybe even just a quiet space to relax or do yoga, for example. So many ways that you could give respect that the home is now also an office. For those of you who play online games, especially the younger set, which my team has plenty of, you could invite coworkers to play multiplayer games. So some of them here are in Call of Duty. You could do Heads Up, for example, as the very famous one that I think Ellen DeGeneres popularized. Minecraft. Another one could be what is that one? I forget now. My kids play all the time. It's the one where they run around. Can someone help me? And they kill each other.
Roblox.
Huh?
Roblox.
No.
Another one.
It's the one with a backpack on their backs.
They got more games.
No. Yeah. Gosh. I want to say Adopt Me, but it's not Adopt Me. You know, okay, let me show
Among
this to you.
Us.
This one, my daughter
Among
drew
Us.
this.
Among
Among
Us.
Us. Oh, that's Among Us.
Among Us,
Among
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes we play that at home quite a lot. It's quite fun. Yeah, and it's pretty cool. Actually, we should do that, guys. I have a few of my teammates here, so we should play Among Us. Yeah. Limited to 8 people. Okay. Yeah, provide special perks and benefits. We talked a little bit about this, but some organizations have done things like offering free subscriptions for Netflix or HBO, providing special healthcare coverage, right? Which is what we did internally, and just yeah, giving them time for off, right? So over here as well, what we've asked the team to do is take 2 weeks. We don't want to see you. Just go, okay, check out and come back energized, right? So lots of ways that you could do that as well. And of course, with the whole work from home, it comes as a no surprise that and an issue of trust with a lot of organizations, and a lot of organizations and leaders actually really suffered struggled with this concept, because they're so used to seeing their team in front of them. But I mean, if you manage by objectives, and you have to give them trust, give them empowerment to choose their own schedules, and know that and they know that if they're trusted, they will do right by the organization, right? So give them freedom, to do what they want. And anyway, it's impossible to watch them, even though some organizations, I think, especially when COVID first hit, they had all these ridiculous rules, like you had to turn on your screen all day long, in order to see each other and so on. I just listened on the radio today on BBC that Google has this salary wage calculator, and it's caused quite a lot of furor in amongst employees, because if you wanted to work from home, then there is kind of a wage calculator that would show what your wage would be if you wanted to do that. And it didn't go up, it just went downwards, right? So interesting. I'm pretty curious about what will happen with that. So organizations are starting to take action, and we'll see what happens over the next couple of months. Okay, so there is a quick bit here on creative ways to boost staff morale, and again, not much of those are too uncommon from, I'm sure, what you've already practiced. And before we start to kind of zoom through this, because I'd love to leave room and time for questions, I'd like to also just chat with the group. What kinds of ways have you practiced within your organization to boost staff morale, and engage remote employees? Can you share, apart from those care packages that you've got? So some ways to boost morale, of course, recognize people. And, it might be an age-old adage, never forget to communicate and show that you care, but it does get more complicated when you're virtual, because, yeah, not everybody turns on their cameras sometimes, for reasons that, perhaps they just cannot, right, in their own setting. So how could you do this? And, one way is just communicate, and over communicate. Like, you cannot do it enough, right? Once you communicate, you build trust, and that goes a long way. Do emphasize employee wellness and health, this is not, there's tons of research that has come out. People are stressed, people's lives are different. And a lot of us feel that we can handle, the difference, but some are taking it harder than others, so always take a time to check on how others are doing and give them plenty of opportunity to make sure that, their wellness and their health is not compromised, right? I mean, I think it's no surprise to any one of us who start work at whatever, 8:30 or 9 or and then we just go back-to-back calls all the way to evening. And if we're on time zones with other organizations, it goes on and on, right? So yeah, so always, also ask for feedback and give feedback, right? Yeah, nurture relationships in workshops. I think there's a small typo here. Yeah, so that's important as well. And then keep it fun, right? Bring on the fun. Yeah, it's really important, a laugh a day keeps the doctor away. So we've compiled some employee engagement ads that we've come across, and we've got a whole list. So if you're interested, let us know. But yeah, we've compiled a couple here. There's Blink, which is a communication software that helps foster engagement between teams and individuals. So it's just a way to share information. So that's one way. There's also Gauge, and Gauge just checks on your employees to check how the culture is and how things are going, right? So almost like a little mini pulse survey. And of course, you don't really have to use an app. You can always just send out a survey or even a Menti or something, a simple survey to just check how people are doing or if you've got qual traits. Yeah. Went backwards. Oh no. Just jump all the way to the beginning. Wait a second. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. And if you want to know more employee engagement apps, just give us a call. And lastly, we have a cheat sheet that you could use to engage a remote workforce, and we can send it to you. I don't know what's going on with my apologies. Yeah, so kind of a quick summary, right? Stay connected, foster social interaction, have virtual coffee breaks, offer online training, allocate funds, everything that we've talked through. So if you're interested in this, let us know. We'll just take a snapshot of this, and we'd love to hear from you and explore ideas, and just talk shop. So are there any questions?
So thank you so much, Nat, for the wonderful session. So it's really interesting to discover new fun and creative ways to build team collaboration with those 6 games that we can use. It teaches us how we can utilize resources that we have online, especially during this time. So we do almost everything virtually. So like what you said, bring on the fun. So yeah, we're now entering the Q&A part of the session. So if anyone have any questions, clarifications, comments, so now is the perfect time to bring that up, and Nat will address them. So go pop it in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask away. So we have one from Sharon. So in Singapore, we are notoriously known for working crazy long hours with no work-life balance. So how then do we convince the staff that they should make time for R&R to play games and engage? So not all HODs will be aligned, especially when HR allows it during office hours. So off office hours, the staff will say it's their personal time and non-negotiable. So also another major hindrance is budget. So what can you say about that?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for that, Sharon. I think we talked about a lot of ways, right? About possibilities that one could use. Just a second, someone's just calling me. Yeah, that ways that people could use to engage, right? So I think there are a couple of points here. I think firstly, it's about culture. It's about culture, and a lot of us here would be from HR, and I'd say that it's not just HR's job, you know, to spread this culture. It's everyone's, and it's an education piece would be useful, just to say, look, you know, there are facts, right? People are really ruthlessly working crazy hours, back-to-back meetings, you know, and we just need to force ourselves to either make time in between and start this culture. So it's a top-down responsibility. I think if HODs make an effort, and you could give them that, you know, very quick cheat sheet to say, look, you know, just do a few things, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be expensive. It, you know, if you use like a Menti or Kahoot, like maybe, you know, at the beginning of, you know, meetings, just let's play a game, right? That could be one way. Or just there's some organizations that have a policy that they don't have meetings over, let's say, half an hour, and the next meeting cannot be, you know, stuck to, let's say, like 2:30. The next meeting cannot be 2:30 to 3. There should be a break in between, you know, so that people can, yeah, just like stretch their legs, walk around, um, and after a while, that becomes part and parcel of the culture. And really, I mean, we shared some apps earlier, but it's not necessary. You know, you can just do it yourself, and it won't cost a thing. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, Nat. Another one from Francisca. So do you know any organizations in Singapore that use the game apps as in your previous examples? It looks so fun, she said. And also a comment from Gian Alverit. Great to share all these ideas. So very interesting and helpful to try.
Okay. Right. So first, thank you, Jean Elvia. Would love to see how you go with it. So keep us posted, and maybe hashtag tag us when you do, and post it on LinkedIn so that we can all learn from it. In terms of Francisca, yeah, any organizations that use game apps? Yes. So we actually went on a little bit of a hunt, you know, for virtual games, business games, because in the thick of COVID, we found that a lot of organizations were looking for ways to engage their remote workforce. And they were also saying things like, hey, I want to run a virtual D&D, you know, my teams are, so pharmaceutical company of ours, our team is disengaged, disillusioned. There's no real problem, but they just haven't met each other for so long, you know, so how can we just get them to have fun, you know, because all they do is have calls, serious calls all day long. So there are organizations, I'd love to share them with you. Not sure if I can mention you know them publicly here, but yeah, a lot of MNCs, small organizations as well, have taken to these, and they're not super expensive, honestly. So I mean, if you think about a D&D and the amount of money you would spend on that, right? You can get a virtual event going at a tenth of the price, and still have good engagement and laughs. Yeah, and there are ways to do it. You know, you could do photo booths. Everyone bring apps and props. You know, not apps, sorry, props. Funky ways to engage each other. Have trivia. Different people could run trivia. Use Zoom rooms or use team rooms to your advantage. So yeah, and again, it doesn't have to be costly. You know, just could use what you have. And of course, if you want to put a big splash onto it, you can get event companies who will come in and do everything so that it's all run by them, and of course, they've got producers in the background. And again, you're looking at about 10 to 20, 25K max. And if you're looking at 25, you're looking at a very large group of people, multiple producers and so on. Yeah. So it's really not that expensive. Yeah. Not all staff like to be engaged by apps. We receive many messages way after working hours. This can be not too welcoming. Yes, that's true. Yeah. And I think, I will say that I'm first to be guilty of it because I work kind of odd hours and I send, messages because I'm afraid that I'll forget. And whatever comes to mind, I send. So what I do is like I have a little red car that I send, like it's like parking lot, right? So it's that I'm just parking it there. You don't have to act on it right away. Yeah. And I think if you set up some rules internally and people just know, after a while, I mean, no one expects like I don't expect anyone to be answering me in the middle of the night. And no one does, pretty much, yeah. Unless they're up as well. So yeah, I think that's it. And of course, I do recognize that some people, don't want the pinging noise and stuff like that. And then maybe set ground rules, right? Internally to say, look, this is what we would like to do, and we all agree, that this is the rules of engagement. Okay, Sharon.
One last.
Yeah.
One last. So I know we're respectful of everyone's time. So one last question from Jen Aldrea. Could you share a link for LinkedIn, please? Could you share that?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And yes, engagement is not an HR job. It's everybody's. Yeah, top down, bottom up, left to right, whatever, 360. Yeah. And culture is not made by one person. It's made by the entire organization, isn't it? Regardless of how big or small it is. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. I think I just wanted to say something because Marley said, hey, you need to prepare something. And I actually prepared a little something on stress. I think recently I've just been sort of maybe concerned, by things that I've been seeing. And I think mental wellness of a lot of people isn't, well, at least we see people are acting out. And, I think we're all okay, but sometimes maybe not. And, how can we maybe manage stress and work from home a little bit better? And I just wanted to say, and I'm guilty of not following any of these at all, but then I'm different. I think maybe I think it's good to set some rules, for yourself around breaks and eating and break times, and maybe set up little routines, right, where you're let's say reading a paper or just doing something that you enjoy, whatever it may be at certain times of the day, and you stick by it, right? Don't eat in front of your screen. And I'm like, number one, I do that all the time. Set some rules for others as well around you. If you've got family and people, that, work is work and family is family. And, we will, keep them separate or not, right? I mean, when my daughter comes in all the time, for meetings, and it's fine, right? I think if it's accepted, it's nice because you see a little bit of the person and what goes on in their life and the human side of them. So yeah, I think there's no one size fits all, but just do what works for you and what works for others, right? I think that's most important. And I guess with that, I'll just say goodbye and thank you, like 1 minute to 4 o'clock. Really appreciate everyone for joining, and keep in touch. And I hope this has been useful for you. And if you just tell us about other things that you'd love to learn and hear more about from other experts. I don't profess myself to be necessarily an expert, but we can find the real expert for you. Just let us know, okay? Thank you and have a good weekend. It's Thursday, isn't it? So almost a weekend.
So thank you for that. So we would love to receive feedback from you. So flash right in front of your screen is the QR code of the feedback form. So the link is also sent into the chat box. So head right on and tell us what you feel about today's session, how we can improve our next events. Right? So while you're doing that, let me take this moment to thank firstly our expert today, Natasha, for the wonderful session. And next, the PPEARL team for bringing this event into reality. And of course, the warmest thank you to all of the audience that we have here for participating and making this discussion engaging. So if you find this session useful for you, we highly encourage you to check the other sessions that we have for the whole month of August. So yeah, this has been Marley from PPEARL, but I won't be saying goodbye for now. So we'll see you all at the next session. Again, thank you and enjoy the rest of the day, everyone. Bye.